So even though the Republicans have won back the House, it's a pretty slim majority. And so it's not all puppies and rainbows for them either, because it's the comeback of the Freedom Caucus, baby. Those 30 to 40 Republican extremists, crazies who want to shut down the government. They back, doggy. So let's check this out. It says House Republicans brace for doomsday scenario if McCarthy falls short of 218 votes for Speaker. So I made a video like a week or so ago talking about how he might actually not even have the votes to actually become the Speaker. Kevin McCarthy, right? He was the minority leader in the House, right? The previous Speaker was Paul Ryan, but he's dipped. So Kevin McCarthy might not actually have one. And so he was warning his Republican colleagues like, yo, if you don't vote for me, we might get a Democratic House, Speaker. So because it's just like whoever gets the most votes, I believe, on the House floor, even if they were to abstain, wins. So if like enough people were to abstain where all the Democrats vote for, trash ass Hakeem Jeffries, horrible guy, they would be able to win if enough people were to just abstain. It says, as a right-wing faction threatens to tank his speakership ambitions, House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy delivered a promise, all never leave, making clear he has no plans to drop out of the race, even if the fight goes to many ballots on the floor. All get 218, McCarthy told CNN, referring to the votes he'd need to become House Speaker. But Representative Andy Biggs of Arizona, a conservative hardliner who's challenging McCarthy to be the most powerful member of Congress, doubled down on his commitment to stop the California Republicans' ascension. I'm not bluffing, Biggs told CNN on Thursday when asked if he'd drop out. Well, with the increasing likelihood that the Speaker's race could go to multiple ballots, something that hasn't happened since 1923, McCarthy's allies and foes alike are starting to quietly game out the next steps if he can't get the necessary 218 votes on the first round and they moved into uncharted territory. McCarthy's supporters are vowing to keep voting for him on multiple ballots, and GOP sources said there are early discussions about a floor strategy for that potential scenario, including whether to recess the House or let the votes keep rolling, no matter how long it takes. To prevent that from happening, McCarthy and his teams have been engaged in serious talks with a group of conservatives, including over potentially giving them influential committee assignments and more power to drive the legislative process. GOP sources said that negotiations are so early in the process and could ultimately end up giving the group some aspect of what hardliners desperately want, additional power to seek a sitting speaker's ouster with a vote on the floor. Asked if he would drop out of the race if he doesn't get 218 votes on the first ballot, Biggs refused to say. And so basically, what's going on here is there's just so many big things going on here in terms of McCarthy trying to win it. It seems like he's really set in this. It seems like he's really set in his role in terms of like, I'm not going to drop out. But I think what the main goal of like Biggs and like these conservatives are, I think they're going to just try to get some big concessions out of it, which is a smart play on their part, I would say. So the question is, are they going to be like full on Tea Party, like Freedom Caucus loonies and be like, no, fuck you completely. I'm not voting for you no matter what. I don't think so. But it would be interesting to see. I guess I don't know enough about how hardline these guys are. But what I would say is their obvious goal is concessions. And as you can see in that, portion of the article, they're already talking about concessions, right? That's what it is. McCarthy's weighs more concessions. And so I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get themselves more power in the House to be able to do things, to push legislation, to pressure the Speaker, and all of this kind of stuff. And so these are really hardcore Republicans. And Kevin McCarthy is kind of waffling between the two sides where he has to not piss off the Trumpies and go too crazy, but he also has to still kind of stay moderate in the middle kind of area. I don't even think Kevin McCarthy is really all that hardliner normally until he gets to this position. I know Mitch McConnell before he became Senate Majority Leader, he was not a hardliner, but all of a sudden he became that a super obstructionist. So I don't know, who knows what's going to happen, but I think ultimately what's probably going to happen is he'll probably end up still winning because they'll probably vote for him after getting concessions. That's my personal prediction as to what's going to happen, but super fascinating to see. And imagine if they abstain, they're just no, fuck you, I'm not going to vote for you. And then Hakeem Jeffries ends up winning. This would be legendary, historic in politics. So I'm hoping it happens just for the precedent, honestly, in terms of politics. It'd be crazy for political science. Holy smokes.